All right, I want to welcome you again to Substitute Teachers Lounge. Today we have Donna. She is a library media specialist, and I'm looking forward to this. Donna, I haven't told you yet, but I have substitute taught, I'll say it this way, been scheduled to substitute teach in the library 4 times now. I'll tell you how that went, but how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm
Good, good.
actually working in the library. Librarians
Oh,
have,
cool.
a lot of us have extended days, so I've
Right.
been shelving books and trying to pull out ones that need to be repaired and just ready for the summer to start.
Well, you're already touching a little bit on some of the questions I was going to ask. What is a typical day for now let's get away from all this coronavirus and unusual situations. What's a typical day for a library media specialist?
Well, it's usually based upon what the related arts schedule for an elementary. A related arts schedule, which is where the kids go to PE, music, art, library. Sometimes there's a computer lab, STEAM labs. There are different things in different schools that they'll rotate through for a homeroom teacher's planning period. So here at my school, I'll have each grade level a class, 1 period during the day. So our classes are 60 minutes. Some are shorter, some are longer at different schools.
So since you're in an elementary school, is it all the way down to kindergarten?
We have a kindergarten academy in our district.
Right. I remember that
for our school. But typically elementaries would have kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th grade, depending on their levels.
Okay. Well, let's back up a little bit. Tell us, take us a little, do a little, this is your life. What was your education process that brought you all the way to your career today?
Okay, well, I started out and I was going to be an interior design major in college.
Okay.
I liked it, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to do. Kind of evolved and took a sabbatical from college, I called it.
Got it.
And worked in an elementary school as a paraeducator and decided, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish up and got my elementary ed degree in 1999 at Eastern Kentucky University.
Okay.
And got a job at Berea Community here in Madison County. Had that job for a year and then went to Kirksville Elementary and taught 2nd grade for 6 years. And then in 2006, the librarian job came open at Dingleton, where I'm the librarian, and that happened to be the elementary school that I attended. So this has been pretty cool. I've come back to my home, as I call it, and have been the librarian here for 14 years. So and those library jobs are few and far between. Usually, you know, when somebody retires from it, they've been in the job 20 years or more.
True.
So.
Well, let me ask you this, since we're going to have some substitute teachers listening to this, what would you, first of all, you can answer both the questions.
Okay.
What do you look for when you look for a substitute teacher? Because you're going to be gone someday. And what would you advise substitute teachers to be prepared for when they're substituting in your area?
Well, one thing I look at, if I know the substitute that's coming, I want to make sure that they know how to use my circulation system and checking in and out books. A lot of times, if it were to be an emergency and I don't know who's the sub's going to be, that is usually something that I just take off the plate, because there is nothing worse than getting a bunch of books scanned in the wrong way and scanned out the wrong way. And that just becomes kind of an inventory nightmare. So if I do know the person that's going to be subbing for me, sometimes I'll say, do you have a chance to, if it's a sub job that I'm preparing for maybe a couple of weeks away, I'll say, if you have time, come in and I'll show you how to run that system. It's not real hard. It's just getting logged in and scanning the right things, the right barcodes, because there's we call it the Walmart barcode that's on the book.
Right.
And then the circulation barcode. And somebody who's not afraid to use technology. There are lots of things that we use now that are technology based, but also somebody that enjoys kids. And this is an atmosphere that there's a lot of freedom to talk and chat and get to, build relationships with kids, and what they like to read, and kind of knowing a little bit about literature too, who popular kid authors are, or even, if you're high school, things that even adults like to read if you're in the middle or high school level, so.
Right. I've been scheduled to sub 4 times, and I say it purposely that way because only one time of those 4 did I end up in the library. The very first time, the guy was going to a workshop, and he said, "Do you want to learn the system?" And he taught it to me before he left. So I was kind of proud of that, because then I knew I could do it at the other libraries, because I think all of them in that county use the same system, don't they?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes. So the second time, they pulled me out of the library because a sub had walked off the job. So I ended up being a 4th grade teacher that day, and they closed the library. Then both of the other 2 times were at the same school, and I told him, I said, "Now I know how to run that system." He said, "Oh, we'd rather you be over here. They closed that library." So I kind of was disappointed, because do you feel like it's harder to get a sub for your area?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's why when I see it, I kind of like to jump on it, because you see more kids, a cross section of more kids in the library than just about anywhere you can be. And sometimes there's classes in there, or scheduled entire classes come in to maybe, assemble some things with some kits that might be in the library, or they're checking out library books. So I think it's fun. I would encourage anybody out there who hasn't tried substituting in that area to give it a shot. Now, let me embarrass you a little bit, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I know, doing my show prep, that last month you won the Intellectual Freedom Award. Well, you got to tell us what that's all about.
Well, in the fall of 2018, I had a student who returned a book to their homeroom teacher with some little sticky notes on it from their parent, disapproving of a book and wanting the book to be pulled from the library shelves. Okay. Well, our school district has a policy on how getting a book removed, the steps you have to follow. So I sent home paperwork to the parent. And a lot of times when you send home the paperwork, the follow through on the parent's end does not happen. Gotcha. Occasionally. But this time they did, which was, perfectly fine with me. We assembled a committee to, everyone had to read the book and form their own opinions without knowledge of what the parent complaint really was. And we followed all our district steps and procedures, and decided that all students have the right to read materials, and that parents also, they have the right to say, "No, my child's not going to read this author," and that's fine too. That's a parent's right. But the book was If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. Seuss, and at the time there was some national stuff going on with different things that Dr. Seuss had done and how they were not politically correct in today's time, talking about different races of people. And some of that is in the book, how he depicts different animals and people and races. And you also have, it was an award-winning book. It was a Caldecott, it wasn't the win, it was the honor book that year for his illustrations. So, it not only would have affected my school, then it would have affected all the schools in the county.
Right.
Because of the way our documents are written. But the parent was fine with our, trying to think of the word, our recommendation of what we were going to do. And we had full support from our principal and superintendent. And in the fall of 2019, I was awarded the Kentucky Library Association's Intellectual Freedom Award. And
good.
Then some of my fellow librarians nominated me for the American Association of School Librarians National Intellectual Freedom Award, which I was awarded last month,
nice.
It was right as our COVID quarantine started. And sadly, I won't get to go to Chicago to get the award.
I saw that in the article.
As in past years. So we'll have some kind of virtual award ceremony later this fall when we can convene together, but it won't be on a national stage. But oh well.
Well, good for you. I mean, feel proud for that. That's a great story. And by the way, those of you that are watching this as opposed to just listening to this, she's in the library. You can see her working right now. So here we are on May 28th, and we've been the school's been out around here since March 13th, and she still has work to do. So do you work a lot during the summer break in a normal year anyway?
In a normal year, I have 18 days extended employment to be able to do ordering and inventory and shelving and book repair. There's all kinds of stuff to do. And now there's more technology side to it, and, building virtual classrooms and virtual libraries.
Right.
So.
I like to read. I'm a Kindle reader. I guess that makes me a lazy reader. I'll get through about 25 books this year, and I'm one of those weird person. I like to read 3 at a time. So I'll read a chapter of one, a chapter of another, and a chapter of another. But I think it's a lot of fun. I've come across all kinds of students who are just, what's the word, voracious readers. That doesn't sound like the right word. You all know what I mean if it's not. Multiple books a year. A lot of teachers, of course, will keep charts on their wall to keep track of how many books they've read. I've seen students that, we might have a Kahoot competition going on, and they're playing Kahoot and winning with one hand and holding a book and reading between questions with the other. So that's pretty impressive. Let me ask you this. I know you occasionally come across students, and this might be more for their actual in-classroom teacher, but when you come across a student that's just not as excited about reading as some of the others, what advice would you have to give them? Or maybe what book would you recommend to them?
I always try and find something that they're interested in.
Good deal.
I mean, some kids are not your fiction book, chapter book kind of kid. They want to read about animals, and they want to read about, their sports heroes and that kind of stuff. I really try and find out what their interest is.
Okay.
And then kind of go from there.
Okay.
So, and then sometimes, you get them into reading about, their sports heroes, and then you find a fiction book that's about, a baseball player that,
Good.
is having a hard time or, so.
Good. Would you have any idea what book at your location seems to be among the kids' favorites?
Oh,
I'm just curious.
Well, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series is always off the shelf. And the I Survived series is another one that you cannot keep in the library. The Piggy and Elephant by Mo Willems. The little kids love those characters. I don't know what, a lot of times whatever I put on display starts going through.
Smart.
They keep trading it around. And I have kind of, I see kids every day of the week, and if books start circulating through one homeroom, sometimes it happens that I have to pull those books and say, I need to let my Thursday classes see these books because they're never going to get out of your homeroom. If you just keep changing them back and forth through, Johnny wants it this week, and then Sally gets it next week, and it just keeps trickling through that one homeroom. So sometimes I have to pull all the books and say, no, we're going to have to let another day of the week get a chance to check out these books.
Good. And, to be honest, I recognize those titles, and I just subbed in middle school and high school, and I've seen those books on desk there too. So those are definitely popular. Let me ask you this. I know you see so many kids. Do you have any good library stories? Maybe something that happened in the library, or maybe a learning experience, or any funny story, anything along those lines that you can think of? Look at me putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, you've put me on the spot. Well, it's always fun when a kid finally, the little kids especially, when they come up and say, I can read all the words in this book.
Oh, that's good.
I know all the words. Or sometimes they'll say, I've wanted to check out this book all my life, and they're 7 years old,
Right.
Or, it's always good when they come in and they say, my mom and dad, or one of their parents, we read this book last night. Just to get some family involvement together. Our library has changed a little bit. It's not all books. We do have maker space, and the kids, that sometimes rotates in and out, and it's Legos and Lincoln Logs and puzzles and things that they can, origami and things they can make. They love to show, their creations, and will you take a picture of this? Will you put it on the Facebook page, or can this be in the yearbook? Those types of things are fun.
Well, you did well with that question. I mean, I learned a lot there myself. What's the little, I know some of the middle school libraries that I've been in have, and I've been to their libraries both as substituting for the media specialist that day, or perhaps being assigned to take a class to the library. So I know one of their most favorite things to work with is the system that it's got batteries in it, and they can create like fans that spin, and it's almost like a circuit board type series. I can't remember the name of it either, so don't worry about it.
Are they little bits?
Yeah, really small, maybe not appropriate for elementary school age kids. Now that I think about it,
we have some snap circuits, and
that's what it is.
Little
snap
bits.
Circuits.
And the kids love to make marble runs, and
I love that. I'm 62, and I love that.
Yeah. we have a program at school called Watchdogs, which it's dads that come in and work with the kids, and
Oh, good, good.
Kind of, they'll help in the classrooms, and a lot of times the kids will want them to come to their related arts class, and so the dads, they love it when I have out the makerspace stuff, and they can build with the Lincoln Logs or the Legos, and they'll tell the kids, I had these when I was little,
Right, right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My grandkids are the same way. They play with all that. Whether you have to think back to when you were a student that went to the library, or even if it's you said you'd been a library media specialist since, was it 2006?
Okay. Yeah. 14 years ago.
What have you seen changed in the last 14 years in the library?
Well, we've added ebooks, and
okay.
Well, the makerspace has come along in this 14 years. Probably in the past 4 to 5 years, that's really taken off. I don't know. There's more variety of books,
right,
and levels. Really, I know when I started, it was hard to get good quality nonfiction that was on, that kindergarten, first grade, the little kids level, because a lot of
that
times
would be tough.
Nonfiction is harder to read.
Right.
Just more because of the terminology that's used in it, and that has come a long way. There's a lot of quality nonfiction now for little bitties, as I call them.
Right, right.
Yeah.
When you read, what's your favorite genre to read?
Well, I like historical fiction.
Okay.
I like biographies. I like to read about, people that I have some kind of interest about. Those are kind of two of the, main
Let me
ones
make a
that I pick.
suggestion. Let me make a suggestion to you, since you mentioned historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And this also has a thriller element to it and a science fiction element to it.
Okay.
One of Stephen King's books is called 11/22/63.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fictional account of the assassination of President Kennedy. And I loved it, to the point that I even bought the mini series, because he wrote the screenplay as well for the mini series. And I really like that. If you ever read books like that, give that one a shot. It's a big book, as most of Stephen King's books are. It's a big book, but I really enjoyed it. I couldn't wait to get through as much of it as I could. All right. Well, I can tell I've enjoyed this interview, because we're about out of time. What closing thoughts would you have for those that might consider being a substitute teacher, or even a teacher, if they want to go into this area themselves as a career? What's a final few words of advice that you'd give them?
Well, if you're going to be a substitute, I'll always maybe have something prepared that, whether it be a book that you really enjoy to read to kids, because you might happen upon, it's an emergency situation,
right,
and there really aren't any plans left for you. And the other teachers in the grade level may be able to kind of help you along with what you might do for the day, but have something that you could prepare that is kind of always in your back pocket,
Gotcha.
As far as going into education, you gotta have a love for, kids,
No doubt.
and nurturing them. And, sometimes we are the parental figure, that they have, the stable parental figure that they have. So just, giving them love. And
I like it. I like it. All right, Donna, it has been great. I hope to talk to you again soon. And we'll see you when the school year gets back in session.
All right.
All right.
Sounds
Talk
good.
to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.